If you want to make more money with your business or whatever you're selling, pay attention to this video. I'm going to be walking you through the 4 belief shifts your prospects need to buy easy or effortlessly, right? So by applying these belief shifts, it's allowed me in my marketing career. So I've been a marketer for over like close to 5 years now. In whatever industry, product or service I've ever marketed, I've been successful, even when I had zero prior experience in the field. And this is why I've been able to do this. So for example, for an investing coach, we went from literally, guys, this offer went from zero to uh, £72,000 in about a month and a half. That's close to like $100,000. This is my first time ever promoting a digital product. This is for an investing coach. We did this by applying these principles. It still worked. It worked in skincare. I met this client when she was making about 5,000 a month with a Shopify store. We went on to make over $1 million in the next year and a half. Right, and you can see the dates there as well. Real estate coaching program, brand new offer. I helped them. They had a low ticket community teaching people how to flip land. We helped them create their high ticket offer within 1 month, right? Because we started the ads at the end of November to December. We did 46,000 in revenue and about 18,000 in cash collected. Brand new offer, right? So pay attention to this because I'm going to be sharing, stuff that's literally took me years of me dedicating myself to my business. I'm serving clients like 12 hours a day, and I'm going to be giving it out to you for free to help you increase your sales, your conversion rates, and just help you make more money, right? So if you're spending more money on if you're spending money on ads and you feel like you've solved your lead quality, you're getting them on a call, your close rate is trash, and you and your team are like your close rate is less than 25% or worse, you're not even tracking it at all, then pay attention to this. Or if you have horrible conversion rates on your sales funnel, your VSLs, which is absolutely cooking the cost to get someone qualified on the call, or maybe your ads itself is bringing the wrong kinds of people with low intent, low commitment, and low interest, then this is going to be one of the most important videos that you'll ever watch, right? Now, I'm going to be showing you some things. Some of them you may already know, but I'm going to be adding new dimensions to how you understand it and how you can actually apply it, right? So by the end of this video, you know how to get your prospects to buy from you with the least resistance, right? Because buying will feel like their own idea, and I'm going to show you 4 ways to do that, leveraging human psychology, right? And this is one of the key reasons why I've been able to see success in whatever things, because no matter what you're selling, at the end of the day, you're selling to human beings. So it will be a worthwhile investment to actually just learn the basics of human psychology and leverage them in your marketing, and that's what can make you successful no matter what happens, what matter if tactics change, what if the algorithm changes, right? I don't care about any of that, because at the end of the day, you are selling to humans, and that part, for the most part, is not going to change unless we get some aliens on Earth. They're probably wired differently, but as long as you're selling to humans, this shit works, right? So yeah, I'm going to give you that and the practical applications you can make today to make more sales. Now, the premise of this, first, I need you to understand the thesis behind this, right? Now, the thesis is the hierarchy of change. Now, some of you have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of change. I've made my own, but it's still quite similar, right? So the hierarchy of change, if any of you have read cybernetics as well, right? You know that they said identity is the deepest level of change. And it's also the hardest level to change, right? Then from your identity, you form your beliefs, right? And vice versa as well. Your beliefs also can form your identity. Then your behavior follows your beliefs. And this is why someone who wants to be, is fat and wants to go to the, and wants to lose weight and go to the gym, it's hard for them to go to the gym, right? Because they're trying to change their behavior, but their identity is still the same. Whereas someone who is actually fit and sees themselves as fit, going to the gym or exercising is a natural part because it reinforces their identity, and then it works vice versa in the same way, right? Now, you, in the realm of behavior, right? So whether literally you're on your sales calls, right? Or this is your VSL or on your ads, you're essentially trying to make people take an action, right? Which is the behavior. You're trying to change their behavior, right? You're trying to get them to do a certain act, which is essentially what direct response marketing is, right? You're trying to get people to do an action now. It's a direct response. It's a way to get a direct response, right? But most of you, whether that's be on your sales calls, your ads, your VSLs, you're trying to make them take an action by changing their behavior, which is actually the least effective way to do it, because it doesn't really move them, right? And even when it moves them, they're not that committed, right? Like the same thing with like the gym example. You can put if you have a super fit person and put their mind in a fat person's body, that fit person will become fit again because they have the mind of a fit person, right? And then because of that identity and because of their beliefs, their behavior is going to completely change to get them back to fit again. Whereas you put that person's mind in someone who's, you can put a fat person's mind that sees themselves as fat and unhealthy, and put them in a healthy person's body, the results are going to be that that person is going to eventually, lose their weight and become fat again. Like it's literally, it's just how it works, right? So, yeah. So now, because trying to change their behavior is the least effective way to do it, right? But also trying to completely change someone's identity on like a VSL or a sales call is also very difficult, because this is the highest level, it's the deepest level of change, but also the hardest one to do, right? So you want to really operate in the realm of beliefs, which is your thoughts, subconscious or conscious, right? So you want to be operating in the realm of beliefs, right? So, and you're going to be leveraging that identity to do it, but mostly you want to add to their existing beliefs. At some points, you do want to change their beliefs or remove certain beliefs, but for the most part, you want to add to their existing beliefs, and you don't want it to conflict with their current or ideal identity. Now, this might seem abstract, so I'm going to give you some straightforward applications of how this works and how to apply it when you're marketing, right? So here we go into the 4 shifts your prospects need to buy. Now, the first one is the opportunity, or you can say the problem, right? Which is like the big idea. A lot of my clients now were in the coaching or services space, right? So you want to sell people on the opportunity. So for example, I'm one of my clients to teach people how to flip land for profits, right? I need to sell them on the opportunity on why land flipping is better or the best path to go, and the opportunity that you go forward with, because there's so many stuff being marketed nowadays, whether that's online, is Amazon FBA, make money online opportunities, or it's crypto, or it's it's Airbnb, right? So this is what we're competing with, right? So I need to sell them on the opportunity, right? And even in real estate, there's Section 8 housing and all kinds of different make money real estate methods, right? So I need to sell them on why land flipping, the opportunity, is the best one for them to go into, right? Another client I have showed you the results above is an investing coach. Now I need to sell them on the opportunity of why investing is important, because the majority of people actually don't invest. People know they need to invest, but they don't really understand to such a deep level of why it's important to invest. So with that idea, right? What I did was, like, most people know they need to invest, but I framed it as a problem. So I'm just like, well, the problem is inflation is eating your money. If you're not investing, you're actually losing money, even though you think that you're saving. Like the value of the currencies, the most valuable currencies in the world, which is the British pound and the US dollar, they're losing 50% of its value every 25 years. If you're working 40 years, by the time you go to retirement, if you've just been saving and not investing, you would end up with nothing, right? I'm not selling them on the opportunity, but I'm selling them really on the problem of why this is an important matter, of why they need to act now, right? So that's the big idea. The opportunity is like the big idea. So you can actually see this. I can give you some examples. So this is something we even use on the sales calls. And then I go into why dirt is better than houses, for example, right? We go into, why dirt is better than houses, and then why land is a massive opportunity, right? Okay, and same thing for the stocks investing, right? So we go, okay, your money is literally under attack, right? Okay, then I go into, all right, so why is your money under attack? Your currency devaluation. AI is going to come replace your job. So not only is your money losing value, but also AI is coming to replace your job. If you're not investing, what the fuck are you doing, right? And inflation is eating up your savings, right? Boom. That, because it's giving them the belief in the opportunity. When I tell you that, right, do you not see why it's important for you to invest now? Like, because your money's losing, you're losing money. AI is coming for your job. So there's less opportunities to make money, and your money's becoming worthless. Right? Once you believe that, then the following actions is, it just makes sense on what I'll sell you on. So I do like doing this, although it doesn't have to be, but I feel like this is the best order or the best sequence for you to go in. So it's the opportunity or the big problem, right? Which is kind of like leveraging the big idea. Okay, so I'm showing 2 ways on how we did this. This is for a VSL, and this one's for a VSL that I scripted. I made a presentation. This one is a presentation that we use on the sales calls, right? So that's for the first belief. Next is the mechanism. So the mechanism is your process of how you do this, right? So people need to believe, okay, now, okay, you sold them on the big idea. Now they need to know the process of, how they fix this problem, or how they capitalize on this opportunity, right? So this is the process, is how it works, right? If people believe in your process, that gives them, when people believe in your own process, they have a lot of trust. Then the following actions of their behavior, right, makes sense. If they believe, okay, their money is losing value, and if I'm not investing, I am my money is being stolen from me, then the behavior or the action of learning how to invest is literally just a natural process, right? It follows that belief. Okay, so this is why we want to operate in the realm of changing beliefs and their thoughts, or adding new beliefs on their thoughts, right? The next thing is the mechanism. So yeah, your process, how you actually help achieve the result, how you fix this problem, right? So this is another one for my land flipping client. So it was like, all right, cool. We go into, right, the 5 barriers, right? And then we walk them through our process, right? Which is, okay, first, we find the buyers first, right? We use a CRM so that, we use this software that can send out thousands of messages to sellers so that we speak with qualified leads, right? So that, and this is how you consistently land deals, because we're having thousands of conversations. But if you're trying to do this one-on-one, it's going to take you forever. So this is why we're able to get such quick results. If people can go and go through the entire, like, we're selling them on the process of how we get the results. Once I've sold them on the opportunity of why land is important, then we're going into our process of how we teach them how to capitalize or leverage this opportunity, right? You sell them on the process. Cool. The next is you want to get them to be sold on you or your company, right? As a person to help them get there. So they also need to believe in you. And how do you do that? Right? I'm going to show you next time, but I'm going to show you in the following messages when I walk you through the practical applications. But they need to believe in you. So you need to give them reasons to add to your credibility. So at the start, I actually do this. Yeah, at the start. So I was like, okay, cool. They've done making over 100,000 a month, right? Made over 4 million in land deals, right? We show them, as we go through the process, students making money from our students actually getting results from what we teach, right? So you can sell them on your credibility. That can be social proof. If you've been featured on anywhere, if your own results, right? Whatever you can do to position yourself as the expert, or having a track record, that gives them belief in you, right? And then another one is belief in themselves. Now, they might believe in the opportunity, the mechanism, and the company, but if they don't believe in themselves, people still aren't going to take action. So you actually need to sell people on themselves. Now, one way you can do that is by making it seem easy, which can be a double-edged sword, because if you sell people on the ease and they find out it's hard, then they get a bad review, etc., etc. But you want to kind of frame them on the ease or the simplicity of the process, right? So if they believe it's easy, then they believe it's in their capability to do it, right? Or you can leverage their identity, right? Are they going to be someone, like, leverage that identity in a way where it's like, well, okay, the type of person who does this, like, you are the type of person who does this. So your actions to follow. The type of person who buys this is the type of person who you are or aspire to be. So I'm going to go through some practical explanations for you, right? And I'll be using examples of when I've done this. So how do you do it? So there's a few effective strategies. These are not the only ones, but these are just a few that I've seen. That's a lot more effective. That is very effective, right? So first, you want to bring facts and research that support your argument. If you're only showing stuff and your only source is you, right, then people will they'll then prove it, right? So what about you just bring the proof in the first place? If you leverage facts and your research, you can bring them. You can, people can feel how they feel, but the facts don't change, right? So the fact of the matter is the fact of the matter. You can bring the facts, and that helps you create a lot of, belief in the process. So, but in terms of the opportunity for land flipping, I went into the actual facts. So in the US, right, there's 2.3 billion acres. So 97 is developed open space. That's a fact that we've done our research, right? There's a massive housing shortage in the US. So there's an estimate of 4 to 5 million homes needed. So builders are desperate for buildable lots, right? And land is a raw material for constructions. Builders need that to build houses to sell, and that's how their business runs. This is a fact. Now, this is something that can easily people can believe in. You can see how you like adding beliefs to this by bringing them information, and these beliefs don't conflict with their identity, right? Cool. So that's one. Right. Then you can sell them on the benefits as well. So the benefits, like the ones that they actually care about, right? So I said talk about the direct benefits of flipping land, right? And when you're talking about benefits, you need to understand first level and second level outcomes, right? So these are so for example here, these are direct benefits. Direct benefits is the immediate thing that you get out of it. Now what people want is the second level outcomes, the second level intent, because these is when you're tapping into, wants that's biologically programmed into us. Why do people want a high income? Well, for many reasons. One is having financial freedom, right? The ability to take care of the family. So you can tailor it, tailor, right, the opportunity as a vehicle to help them get what they really want. Who doesn't want financial freedom? But being able to enjoy your life is a universal want all humans have, right? Being able to take care of your family is a universal want that everybody has. Pretty much. This is how you're tapping into mass desires, like Eugene Schwartz always says, right? You're tapping into mass desires, right? So you don't need to give them necessary desires, right? You don't need to give them necessarily. You can tap into their existing mass desires and their existing identity, right? For most men, right, if they are brought up right, they want to take care of the people, they want to be responsible, and they want to take care of the people around them. That is a universal want, a universal belief that men have that you can tap into, right? Now, next is, so the second level of outcomes, right? So if you've got that here, enhanced lifestyle, opportunity, opportunity scrutiny. So the benefits is like, okay, it's not going to go out of style, right? Or enhanced lifestyle, more regular income, more disposable income, regular holidays, etc. These are ones that most people want, right? Okay. Now, next is calibrated questions. Now, these are some of my favorite things to use, whether that be on the sales calls, whether that's be on the VSLs, whether that be on your ads, is asking very strategic questions that if you ever read the book, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, I would highly recommend reading that, but it has this whole principle on asking calibrated questions. Now, calibrated questions are good because this is a way you can shift beliefs with people without resistance, because they feel like they've changed their mind on their own and it's not you that convinced them. So I ask a question, a very specific or calibrated questions that guides their thinking in the direction that they want, or in the direction to the belief that aligns with the behavior of buying my product or service, right? Here's an example of how we do that. So for example, when we show the software for how they flip land and get contact loads of sellers, and you can automate the process, I was like, if you had this software, how much time and effort do you think this is going to save you? Now I'm thinking about, okay, cool, if I can speak to thousands of sellers and it only takes me like an hour to have a process or a tool that can send out like literally thousands of messages, I don't have to speak to people individually. All right, probably save me a lot of time and effort, right? That's a calibrated question that leads them in the direction that I want, which is for them to believe that it's easy to get the result, or that it's more likely for them to get the results if they had this, right? Cool. You can do this in many ways. I even did this for like so you can see I've done this for clients in multiple just completely different service-based industries, right? So for this client, we go in and then we show them we show them, okay, your trainers, for example, right? Or your education phase, right? Well, I'm telling them, how much quicker do you think you'll be able to learn these new? So this is a career coaching program, helps people land jobs in tech as business analysts. It's like, how much quicker do you think you're going to be able to learn these new skills when you're learning from experts with over 25 years of experience? Now, what belief do I want them? Like, what question? How does that question guide them to? What belief does that question guide them to? To the belief that it's going to be easier or quicker to learn these new skills, right? Speed, if I'm learning from people with loads of experience, right? So I love using calibrated questions And you can think of this, you can even get ChatGPT to help you make up this, but asking calibrated questions is one of the best ways to shift beliefs, because people feel like they came to the conclusion on their own, but the initial prompt was actually the question that you asked. So they believe they came to the conclusion thinking it's their own idea, right? And if they feel like they came to that belief as is their own idea, the resistance for them making the behavior or taking the action that aligns with that belief is just a smooth process, right? Next is, breaking down your process, right? Breaking down your process, I was showing that, like showing how the mechanism works. So even with this, we actually show a demonstration. We open up our software and actually just do a demonstration of the software and how it's being used. Having a visual demonstration. For example, like if you're selling like an AI service, all you need to do is a demonstration. You don't need necessarily video reviews or testimonials to sell that product or service. Like the belief is brought from you just demonstrating how it works and seeing it in action. Right, so breaking down your process is a very good way of doing this, right? Which leads into demonstrations, which these two are aligned. So credibility, social proof. If you've been featured anywhere, video reviews, video reviews. If you have any authority, or authority figure like recommending your service. So if you're selling we've even been in e-commerce selling supplements, and a lot of sites will get like a doctor recommended, and it's like a doctor's quote, right? That's on the position of authority that is recommending this and gives them a belief, okay, that this makes sense, right? Okay, because why does that work is because people already believe, right, that doctors are experts in their field. So if a doctor is recommending something, it's easier to take the action because you believe that doctor is knowledgeable and more likely going to be right. Okay. Next is the frame of ease. Now this is where you're going into selling them on themselves. You can do this by making something feel easy or simple. Then people believe that they can do something that is straightforward and simple, right? So that's a way that you can sell them on themselves, on their capability to do it, because it's a simple process, right? Or their dream identity too. So okay, you're selling like a make money opportunity, for example, or like a make money opportunity, like an info offer or something, right? And someone's giving you some resistance, so it'll be like, all right, so the type of person, so what are their goals, right? Okay, I want to be able to make 50,000, 100,000 a month. All right, well, the person that makes 100,000 a month, what can you describe that person? What kind of actions do they take? Are they someone who invests in themselves, right? Are they someone who takes action even when they feel like it's risky and they act in spite of that? All right, then who do you want to be, right? So you can leverage the identity of what they want to be and make them see that the action of the behavior, the action of actually buying or taking the action that you want them to take aligns with the identity that they are aspiring to be or who they see themselves as. Okay, and you can also do this with cost. So most of us will know the cost framing. So okay, what's it going to cost you staying in the same position, right? Okay, so you can do the frame of ease, or you can do like the pain of not making a change, right? And that sells themselves on taking action, right? So these are universal principles. So it means and it helps you get results, whether it's on your ads, your website, your landing pages, your sales presentations, your content. It doesn't matter. Like it works regardless, right? They all help build more belief and trust, which then leads, right? Because you operate in this realm, which then makes the behavior or the action that you want of them making a particular action or buying your product or service the next natural step, which is what you want, right? This is how you make them take the action, the behavior you want them to take with less resistance or the least amount of resistance possible, which is what you want. Now, some people, I've seen this with especially salespeople, or some sales trainers, they train people to challenge them on their thoughts or challenge challenge the prospects on the way of thinking. And I'm not saying you should never challenge someone, but even just think about the language that you're using when you're saying that. With a challenge, there's competition. In a competition, there's always a winner or a loser. So if you're trying to challenge someone and their thoughts, their existing thoughts, their identity or their pre-existing identity or beliefs, and you're trying to challenge them on that, they're going to fight to defend it, right? Because they don't want to lose their identity or their beliefs. So this is why asking stuff like calibrated questions that guides their own thinking to where they feel like they came to the decision on their own makes a lot more sense than challenging them, right? Cool. So you guys have learned some human psychology and some source. I promise you, if you apply this and you really not just understand this, but understand this and understand this, you're gonna increase, well, how persuasive you are for sure, but your sales, your conversion rates, your close rates, every single metric will improve once you start applying these principles and applying it in the different ways, because now you understand why this shit works, right? Okay. For my business owners out there, whether you're in a service space or you're in for product and you're selling a high ticket service or product, then I'm giving away free consultations, and I'm going to show you how to grow your business for free. The only caveat, the only catch is I want a video or a written review if you found it helpful, to help with my own marketing. Now, that's not just me people say it's a free consultation and it's phrased as a sales course. Yeah, I will offer my service at the end if you found it valuable, right? But this is actually a consultation where I'm going deep, spending an hour with you, breaking down your entire business, and you can see the amount of reviews spanning up to 214 weeks. We've been doing this a while, of my consultations that we have here. Like, I've done a whole ton, and I want you to be the next one that I do. So if you're interested in that, then click the button below to book a call, and we're going to go through it. And yeah, leave a like, comment what you found the most helpful in this video, and subscribe. It takes some time to put this together and send this out to you and give you out this resource, so that'll be helpful. But apart from that, thank you for watching this video in its entirety, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.